Blake Lively breaks down in court as Megyn Kelly exposes the truth with receipts. It seems Blake's secrets are finally catching up with her, and Megyn isn't holding back. With damning evidence in hand, she may have just put an end to Blake.
I will happily participate in releasing any further leaks that they have because the truth should be out there. What does she have to fear if she's telling the truth?
But you can rest assured that based on the investigation we've done, the text messages we have, the receipts that'll go along with that complaint, she's dead in the water.
Megyn Kelly has now brought in her own legal team, armed with key evidence proving that Blake Lively has been lying and twisting the truth from the very beginning. But what's even more shocking are Blake's true motives, which appear to be far more manipulative and self-serving than anyone had anticipated.
Blake Lively was no victim here. She was in control, she was in power, and she took over this film.
From allegedly using her best friend Taylor Swift and husband Ryan Reynolds to pressure Justin Baldoni, to reportedly threatening producers with a boycott unless her outrageous demands were met, Blake seemed willing to pull every string to get her way.
Such a brat that she wanted to control every scene, wanted to see all the dailies, wanted to do her own cut and did her own cut of the movie. All this is very unusual for just an actress in the film, even if she's the lead, and that she's now tried to turn this whole thing into a PR victory for her to get past what appears to be the fact that she is an egotistical...
Y'all, this situation runs way deeper than just a simple sexual harassment lawsuit. It's starting to look like Blake Lively had a calculated master plan from the very beginning, but why now? We all know that Blake sued Justin Baldoni, accusing him of harassment and orchestrating a smear campaign against her. In response, Justin fired back with his own lawsuit, claiming he was actually the target of her smear campaign, but trust me, the drama didn't start there. This rabbit hole goes much deeper. Before we even get into the newly leaked evidence, we need to rewind and take a closer look at how this all really began. Because if the latest reports are to be believed, Blake's manipulations were set in motion long before this became a public feud. It all traces back to the moment Blake's once polished reputation began to crumble. And no, it had nothing to do with Justin Baldoni, despite what she's tried to claim. Fans began turning against her because of her own actions. That Little Miss Perfect persona didn't sit right.
When these stars drop a movie, people start digging around for other interviews of them, etc. And it was just sort of a course of, wow, like, she seems like kind of a jerk. Wow, she's like kind of a bully. She's rather mean.
In a desperate attempt to salvage her public image, Blake went into full damage control mode, blaming Justin and his PR team for allegedly planting negative stories about her as part of her Please Love Me Again strategy. She did a feature with the New York Times, clearly aimed at flipping the narrative, casting herself as the victim and painting Justin as the villain. But here's the twist. Newly uncovered evidence suggests that the New York Times may have manipulated text messages and conveniently left out key details, all to portray Justin in the worst possible light. Now that change...
We're removing text in between text and emojis to sort of make it sound worse.
But wait a minute. Doesn't this all sound a little too familiar? Something about this just feels like deja vu.
Has made herself into the new Amber Heard, and he is the new Johnny Depp.
Sound familiar? Think back to how Amber Heard pulled the same move on Johnny Depp back in 2018, with that infamous smear article in The Sun, painting him as the monster while she played the innocent victim. Funny enough, Amber has even reappeared recently to publicly support Blake. But here's the thing. Blake made a huge mistake by following in Amber's footsteps. And, well, we all remember how that ended for Amber.
He's going full Johnny Depp on her to show that she was the bully, she was the one hurting him, and this guy who had, comparatively very little power was forced now to come out and tell the truth about Blake Lively.
Just like Amber, Blake's biggest mistake was assuming her fans are clueless, like we wouldn't catch on. She keeps claiming that Justin and his PR team are making her look bad in interviews, but come on, Blake. We have eyes. We see the truth. We see how rude and dismissive she is with interviewers, and it's not a good look.
But he would, so he'd suddenly start filming my hands, or my feet. But what was interesting is that to him in that moment, my hands were telling so much more of the story than my face. And I had to be so much more, it was sort of chicken or the egg. I don't know if I was more alive and awake as an actor because every part of me was up for grabs while he's filming. My mom will call 7 times in a row. She's that person. She's the one who thinks that like on time 6, you just like didn't see that she was calling. So she's just gonna keep calling.
And then you turn around and act all supportive of Ryan and my hair care brand, Blake Brown. My goodness, This week has been absolutely wild.
Turned around and you were just as supportive of Ryan. What is it like to...
And my hair care company, Blake Brown, my goodness gracious. It's been crazy. It's been a crazy...
No wonder fans turned on her. Oh my gosh, she's so shallow. This is a serious issue. It's not about star signs. We're asking for empathy. Blake, not your location. I can't believe I ever liked this chick. Every single interview, she's just a next level, out of touch narcissist. And just like Johnny Depp's legal team absolutely obliterated Amber Heard, Justin Baldoni's lawyer is getting ready to do the same and crush Blake Lively into oblivion.
Movie is going to affect people and they're going to want to tell you about their life. So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, and they want to really talk to you, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share. Or I could just location share you and then we could...
Oh, and here's a fun fact. Megyn Kelly's lawyer is also representing Justin Baldoni, but as we mentioned earlier, this wasn't just some desperate attempt by Blake to save her reputation. From the very beginning, it's looking more and more like she had a calculated, even sinister, plan to steal Justin Baldoni's movie from him, and now? There are countless text messages between Justin and Blake, as well as with producers and editors, that back it all up.
To sue Blake Lively too?
Into oblivion, Megyn. Wait till you see this lawsuit.
Justin Baldoni, who, by the way, wasn't just the lead actor but also the writer and director of the film, was completely blindsided when he learned that Blake had secretly created her own director's cut of the movie, and no one was allowed to see it. Just curious if you guys have seen her cut and if anything has changed. I've just been told we're not allowed to look. Wow, okay then. The editors and director aren't allowed to see an actress's cut. Got it. Well, here we go.
She used these allegations of sexual harassment and she used these allegations of bullying to try and leverage her position so she could be the de facto director.
And that's not all. Justin was shocked to discover that Blake's husband, Ryan Reynolds, had actually contributed to writing some of the scenes, something completely inappropriate, and even worse, something that was never even discussed with Justin beforehand.
Executive producer to have a competing cut of a film is incredibly bizarre, but when she starts threatening people and saying, I'm not going to promote the film, I'm not going to do anything unless you use my cut, that's when it starts to be awfully incendiary.
And let's not forget, Justin was literally forced to the basement with his friends and family during the premiere of his own film.
Iconic rooftop scene in this movie, my husband actually wrote it. Nobody knows that, but you now.
This is just more proof that Blake was determined to steal the spotlight and make the film all about herself. But now, the tables are turning, and things are starting to look pretty grim for Blake. Justin's legal team is preparing to unveil a mountain of evidence against her.
One of the most beautiful nights of my life, career-wise. I literally was sent to the basement with all my friends and family for over an hour because I wasn't allowed to be seen. She didn't want me anywhere near her or the rest of the cast.
Such a brat that her and Ryan Reynolds specifically requested during the premiere that they so did not want him to attend his own.
So, without further delay, let's dive into just some of the lies we now know Blake has been telling. Lie number 1, the breastfeeding incident. Blake accused Justin of invading her personal space and showing up uninvited while she was undressed or breastfeeding. But newly leaked text messages tell a very different story, and the messages, it's clear that Blake herself invited Justin to her trailer while she was pumping milk. Her exact words: "I'm just pumping in my trailer if you want to work out our lines." And Justin's response wasn't pushy or inappropriate. He simply replied, "Copy. Eating with the crew and we'll head that way." This exchange shows that Blake set the boundaries herself and was clearly comfortable with the situation.
It's actually don't lie, people do, and it's important that everyone sees all of the documents that are involved in the case, because there are people that have been destroyed as a result of the allegations that have been made so far in this case.
Then there's the accusation against Jamie Heath, lead producer and Justin Baldoni's close friend. Blake claimed he showed her highly inappropriate, even pornographic material, trying to paint it as a deeply traumatic experience, but the details conveniently left out in her lawsuit. The script included a birthing scene, and the footage Jamie shared was of his own wife giving birth.
Just an example of how she loves to play the victim. And then the one about, oh, he burst in on me uninvited when I was breastfeeding my child. She says we should run lines together. He's like, anytime. And she's like, come on over. I'm breastfeeding the baby in the trailer, but come on over.
And as we've since learned, the footage was actually artistic. Shot with care to capture the beauty and vulnerability of childbirth. There was nothing pornographic or harassing about it.
When that, because so often we see births in movies and TV and they just look so fake. It's like a 3-month-old baby that comes out, and I just wanted it to feel very real.
Another wild accusation Blake made was that Justin commented inappropriately on her body, essentially fat-shaming her. That claim apparently escalated so much that Ryan Reynolds reportedly summoned Justin to his penthouse, cursed him out, and scolded him, but Blake didn't stop there. She dragged her husband and Taylor Swift into the drama. According to leaked messages, Blake threatened Justin, calling herself the Great Khaleesi from Game of Thrones, and claimed Ryan and Taylor were her dragons. Just wait until Megyn Kelly breaks this all down. It's absolutely cringeworthy.
He showed her a still shot from his wife's delivery of their child, which I've also seen. You can't see any R-rated parts at all. It's actually a really lovely artistic photo.
But y'all, maybe Blake never actually watched Game of Thrones all the way through. Because if I remember correctly, things didn't end so well for her character, did they?
He says we should run lines together. He's like, anytime. And she's like, come on over. I'm feeding the baby in the trailer, but come on over. Like, it's written there, black and white. She invited him in, and a lot of women are comfortable having someone around when they breastfeed, so it's not so weird, especially out in Hollywood, for him to assume, yeah, I guess she's fine with this because she did let him in. Ryan Reynolds comes off terribly. He had them over to their penthouse in New York, and Taylor Swift was believed to be there, according to this latest complaint. Not within the purview of an actress, and then after that, they have text messages in which Blake tells Justin, this is in the latest lawsuit, I know you've never watched Game of Thrones, but when you get around to watching it, you'll realize I'm Khaleesi, and these are my dragons, and I have the best dragons in the business, right? Ryan Reynolds and Taylor's.
All right, let's break this down. Yes, Justin did ask his personal trainer, hey, how much does Blake weigh? Blake caught wind of it and, once again, blew it completely out of proportion, as we've seen time and time again. There's a pattern here, things being taken way out of context. The truth? Justin has severe back issues, and there was a scene in the film where he had to lift Blake. Knowing her weight was crucial to avoid injuring himself, or worse, Blake. There was no fat shaming, no inappropriate comments, just safety concerns. More leaked messages came to light, and they completely undercut Blake's claims. And texts between Justin and Blake, he's clearly supportive when she shares insecurities about her postpartum body. Anything you are insecure about, we'll talk it through, get creative together, and make you comfortable. I just don't want you stressing about your body. That's the last thing you need. Now on to issue number 4, the intimacy coordinator.
Blake Lively comparing herself to Khaleesi has to be one of the wildest cases of self-fulfilling prophecy I've seen to date. Like, everyone's making fun of her for saying that, but what's more Khaleesi than being a once beloved public figure who stood to win it all and lost it in a fiery rage? It is giving twin. She's absolutely accurate. And just like in Game of Thrones, in the end, those dragons did not mean shit.
Blake's lawsuit claims there was no intimacy coordinator present on set. She says Mr. Baldoni improvised physical intimacy that had not been rehearsed, choreographed, or discussed with Ms. Lively, with no intimacy coordinator involved. Here's the issue. Her lawsuit completely contradicts her own public statements. In a previous interview, Blake actually confirmed, yes, we did hire an intimacy coordinator. So, which is it?
An intimacy coordinator's job is to be there to facilitate the filming of existing and agreed upon intimacy, okay? They're there to basically broker and manage consent and safety. That's what they're there for.
Still on the fence? Let's look at these actual texts between Blake and Justin. Just hired a new intimacy coordinator who I love. We'll set you up to meet. Blake, I feel good. Can meet her when we start. Doesn't exactly sound like Blake was worried about not having an intimacy coordinator. And in interviews before the lawsuit, Justin praised Blake for how professionally she handled their intimate scenes, so he clearly wasn't trying to cover anything up.
with Justin also was off the chart. And Blake, you always have a vision. So talk to me about how sometimes you were even the intimacy coordinator in some of those sexier scenes. Like we saw you.
That shouldn't be happening, by the way. I just want to be clear that you should not be the intimacy coordinator. You should definitely hire intimacy coordinators, which we did have.
Now the cherry on top. There's footage of Blake directing Justin, literally showing him how to pull her in for a kissing scene. From their body language, it's obvious Blake was in control and Justin was simply following her lead. Then there's the nightmare scene Blake referenced in her lawsuit. Let's go through her claims. It was a slow dance montage scene with no sound. Mr. Baldoni didn't act in character, he spoke as himself. He dragged his lips from her ear to her neck and said, "It smells so good." Here's the catch. Blake says there was no sound, which helps her narrative, but Justin's lawyer released the actual footage, and yes, there is sound. That blows her entire claim apart. And let's be honest, both Blake and Justin were talking out of character in that clip, even referencing their spouses. Nothing inappropriate happened. And Justin's "it smells good" line? It's far more innocent than she made it seem. Watch the footage yourself and decide, was Justin being predatory, or is Blake's victim narrative unraveling?
I honestly just tried to get out of the way and let her take the lead, and especially when it came to intimacy and all of that, like she had a very clear vision, and she was telling me what she thought would work and what she thought would be sexy.
Honestly, there were many instances on set where I just let the women figure it out, and I took a step back and kind of jumped in more as an actor in those scenes than even as a director.
So yeah, I'd love to hear what you'll make of this mess. And now, the plot twist. Blake has reportedly slapped Justin Baldoni and his lawyer with a gag order to prevent them from releasing any more texts, footage, or evidence that could defend Justin or hurt her case. Heaven forbid he defends himself, right?
If you should I'm probably getting Well, it's not bad, it's my body.
So what do you think? Has Blake been lying all along, playing the victim, twisting facts, and watching it all backfire? Or is there still some truth to her story, and she really is a victim of something deeper? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell. We've got way more celebrity drama coming your way.
She's had her shot against him, and she's severely damaged him with that New York Times piece and this complaint, which she managed to get leaked. Now she wants a complete gag order. Poor Blake. Why should Justin be able to release snippets to the media without the full context? That's what she said. That's what she did.